My name is Luis.
And my name is Jessica, and this is our story. We wanted to start a family right away. And then after a year of trying, we found out that we had infertility. So it was very devastating because I had always wanted to be a mom. Like, that was the one thing that I wanted. For that not to be able to happen was very heartbreaking.
Yeah,
And
fertility can be very difficult for people, mentally, financially, spiritually. It drains you out. I mean, she was doing pills, injections, everything you can imagine, until eventually we had to do IVF. Nothing else was working for her.
yeah. So then we went to our first ultrasound after finding out, finally, after 3 years of being married, that we were expecting triplets. And that was very exciting because we're like, oh, we have an instant family,
Instant family, yeah.
immediately an instant family. And the doctors told us, like, there are going to be risks.
They know that multiple pregnancies is high risk. And the doctor came into the room after the nurse ran out of the room, brought the doctor inside to say there's 3 heartbeats. And the doctor said, we have to ask you this question. And they say, it's called selective reduction. Which one of these babies you want to stop the heartbeat?
I prayed for these babies, so I was going to do everything I could as a mother to keep them healthy. And unfortunately, there were so many complications in the pregnancy. And at 20 weeks, my water broke, and there was nothing they could do. I mean, there was...
She went into labor.
Yeah, I went into labor. They couldn't stop it. Yeah. There was an infection that got in my body, and we had to...
Her organs were shutting down.
Yeah.
The doctor says, for the baby to survive, she needs only 2 more weeks. And 5 doctors came to the room to convince us to give up.
After I gave birth to the last baby, I was rushed into emergency. My organs began shutting down. I lost 50% of my blood. So they basically told me, like, tell your husband goodbye because you're not gonna make this.
Obviously, during the surgery, I had our baby that lived the most, Jaden. He lived 5 hours trying to breathe. During those 5 hours, I told him all the time, I love you. I love you. Dad is here. I love you. And that's all he knew. He knew my voice. He knew he was loved. Until he took his last breath.
I woke up and, thankfully they had saved my life, but then the reality of all my children are gone, and like, why did this happen? Like, why did God allow this to happen when we tried so hard? We wanted to be parents. Like, that's, we trusted God. We had so many people praying for us.
I remember those few months after we lost him, I was, in my anger with God and all that frustration. And then I was angry because it's not just about grieving them, losing them, but you're also grieving secondary losses. See them walking for the first time, changing diapers, hearing them say daddy for the first time. Walking my daughter down the aisle. All that is gone forever. You never get it back. So you grieve more than just the loss. And I was angry with God that I didn't get the chance to do any of that. And I was raising my fist at him, this is not fair. And so walking out of the hospital with empty arms, going to a house with an empty nursery, it was hard for me.
Yeah, it was very hard. So there were a lot of dark days, I think, like, where I didn't even want to live anymore because...
Suicidal.
Yeah, after losing all of them, I just couldn't... I felt like I failed as a mother. So we knew, we had to take care of our marriage as well. So we read the Bible.
I remember that you were like, no, go and find somebody else that can give you children. I'm like, no.
But we read the Bible. We stayed active in our church, and we knew the enemy was trying to tear us apart. We knew he was trying to destroy our family. So we were going to do everything we could to keep following God for the next steps. We definitely prayed a lot about what we should do next. Even though I wanted to give up, I felt like God was telling me, don't give up, keep trusting. And so I just said, I'm going to trust you, God. I'm going to do whatever it takes for me and to do what needs to be done to like try to have another child and go through all the shots, go through everything again, because basically it was starting over with the shots and everything. So
finally she got pregnant, and then the pregnancy has some complications, start bleeding, and the best doctors, and they're professionals, they know exactly what they're doing. And against all odds, our son was born one day before his due date. He made it, and it was just amazing. I felt like I didn't have to say anything. I just held my boy in my arms, and the miracle spoke by itself.
So yeah, a year after we lost the triplets, I walked out of the hospital with a healthy baby.
And so 4 years later, we're like, we should try this again. And she's like, are you sure? Yeah. And she's like, okay, let's try it again, because we didn't want our son to be alone in life. So we did IVF again, in vitro.
And then
We got twins.
we got twins.
That was really scary, because now we're back into multiples.
Yeah. But continued to trust God. I spent 110 days on bed rest with those babies. It was like God was giving me that desire of, I lost multiples. Now I'm getting to raise multiples again.
So God answered
So
that
he
prayer.
answered that prayer.
2 years later, she goes to the ER.
Like I could not keep anything down. So for like a
Nausea,
whole month I had
what
nausea, and everybody's like joking with me, you're pregnant. I'm like, I'm not pregnant. There's no way. Like
She
the
has
doctor said, like there's no possible way that this is going to happen. And she's like, congratulations, you're pregnant. And I'm like, what? I think it made us closer as a couple, and to really know like we have to rely on God. We have to trust in him.
But looking back in the storm, I can see on the specific days that God was holding us there, giving us one day at a time. He didn't paint out the whole journey ahead of us, but one step at a time, he made it happen, and got there step by step. And now looking back, that journey is not about me or about my babies, but about showing that we can trust in God for anything.
For us, they're always part of our family. They're always going to be with us. So my boys have always known that they have two sisters and a brother in heaven, and that's part of our story. That's what God has done.
God, thank you so much for the few hours that I have. That will forever be treasured in my heart. I will never change those few hours for anything. Thank you for those few minutes that I have with them. Thank you they do exist. And thank you that he's taking care of them.
Instead of asking why, like we became more like, thank you for allowing us to be their parents, for choosing us for them to be our kid,
Yeah.
because they changed our lives.